Kia ora koutou, tamariki, and any whānau who are joining us today. Ko Mrs. Leda Ho, I'm the teacher in one of the teachers in room 12. And today we are going to be making some do-it-yourself chalk paint. So the first part of my learning session will be making the chalk paint. Some people might have chalk and you can still do what we're going to do later on with chalk as well. But once we've made our chalk paint, we're going to be doing some fun games and activities with our chalk paint or chalk outside on the concrete. So this is a two-part session. So as you hopefully have already done, you may have got all your ingredients and things that we need beforehand. So just to recap, you need to get some corn flour, you need some food colouring. So I've just got 4 different colours today. I've got green, yellow, red and blue, but it depends what colours you've got at your house, so however many you want to make. We've got a tablespoon, measure it out for our corn flour and our water. We've got some bottled water and a teaspoon for mixing. So to make your chalk paint, it is something you're going to take outside. So I've seen a couple of videos and tutorials making it in like a muffin pan, which you can do if you want to, but I don't personally do art activities with baking things. So I've got heaps of recycling nets at my whare, lots of recycling. So you could use yogurt containers, yogurt bottles, washed out of course, or like me, I've got these plastic containers that my kids have their potato sticks in, so I'm going to use these today to mix mine in. So let's get started. First of all, you're going to get your corn flour, and for each container that you have or section, you're going to measure out 4 tablespoons of corn flour into your container. And then once you've done that, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of water, and then you're going to add a little drop of food colouring, and then you're going to mix it all around. So I'm going to start corn flour first. So, well, it's a bit messy. Might pay to do this one in the kitchen or somewhere that's easy to clean up. So you're going to put it into your container. 2, 3, 4. Right. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put all the dry ingredients in first because I've only got 1 tablespoon. So I'll do that. I've got 4 different things. So tahi rua, toru, wha, tahi, rua, toru, wha, and last, tahi, rua, toru, wha. Right, so that's our dry ingredients done. Just going to put the lid on. The next part of this creative experience is we're going to put the water in. So I've got bottled water, but I'm not going to use it. It's just as an example. So I'm just going to fill up a bowl of water. So we'll get that from the tap. Right. So each of these containers is going to have 2 tablespoons of water per 4 tablespoons of corn flour. So let's measure them out. So we've got tahi, rua. Now, unlike the corn flour, I'm going to only mix each of these containers one at a time because I want to mix them as we go. So I'm going to start off with kowhai. I want to tip a few drops in. And I have got a plastic spoon, and I like to mix things using the handle. So I'm going to use my handle, or you can use the part of the spoon or whatever it is you're using. So we're going to start mixing all the ingredients together. So we've got the water, we've got the food colouring. You might find, just like my one, that there's a few lumpy bits in it. So we're just going to slowly mix those around. If we go too fast, all the ingredients are going to fly out. So, might pay to do this on a bench or a table or something. So I'm slowly mixing mine. Hopefully you can see. As we go, you can see that more and more of the corn flour is mixing in with the water and the food colouring, and it's starting to break up a bit better. It's actually quite tricky getting all this corn flour mixed in properly. And one good thing is you could use the handle of your spoon, if you're using a spoon, and kind of stomp it down. Oh, so mine's getting harder and harder to mix. One thing you could do if you're finding it too hard to mix is you could add a little bit more food colouring, another bit of water perhaps. So in a minute I'm going to show you what mine's turned out like. I'm going to add just a little bit more food colouring. And maybe half a tablespoon more of water, just so it mixes up a bit better. Right, so you see in there, you guys might have similar looking product to mine. So now all the lumps are gone and it seems pretty well mixed in. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave that one, and then I'm going to do exactly the same thing for all the other colours. Right, so my next one. So if you remember, we're going to put 2 more tablespoons into our corn flour. This time I'm going to choose a different colour. This time I'm going to choose fiddle. So I'm going to pop that in with the water and the corn flour. And I'm going to use the same spoon, and I'm going to use the handle again. I'm going to mix it in. So let's go. So just like before, we're going to slowly mix it in, making sure we get all the corn flour. Thanks, Happy. Mixing it all in with the liquid. Ooh. And what I always say to all the kids in room 12 is take your time, don't rush. Because when you start rushing is when you start making a big mess or making mistakes. So, same thing's happened again. I've got to a point where it's really tricky, really hard for me to mix it in. So I'm just going to add a little bit more water, just a slight bit more. Okay. And I quite like that shade of red, so I'm not going to worry about putting any more red food colouring in. So I just put another half a tablespoon in. It makes it slightly easier to mix. Right, so we've got the same consistency as the first one. Mixing it through a bit more. Cool, on to the next one. So now kakariki green. I'm going to put, I think this time I might put 2.5 tablespoons in. Seeing as the last 2 needed a bit extra. So I'm going to put in my food colouring, just a couple of drops just like before. Make sure I put the lid on properly. And again, I'm using the handle of my spoon. I'm going to mix it around. Taking my time. Right, so by now you guys would have got the hang of this. Remember, if it's too hard to mix, just add a very small amount of water to your container, which will help it to mix in a bit better. Don't add too much. If you do add too much liquid, just add a little tiny bit more corn flour to get that consistency right. So once you've done your next colour, or however many colours you're doing, I'm going to leave you guys to do the rest. Remember, 4 tablespoons of corn flour should already be in there, and then your few drops of food colouring, and then your 2.5 or 2 tablespoons of water. Mix it around. Once we've got our colours, we're good to go. So we're ready for the next part, which is outside on the concrete. So hopefully you've got a driveway that you can use, or the sidewalk outside your house. That would be cool as well. See you soon.